So for the last week or so, I've been pretty bored, and I started watching a lot of old LeBron highlights, a lot of old LeBron playoff games from his early days in Cleveland, and I was just thinking to myself, I wonder what LeBron James's best playoff run ever is out of all his years in the NBA. So last year, LeBron passed Derek Fisher's record of 259 playoff games, which is the most by an individual player. So yeah, it was pretty hard to determine LeBron's top 5 playoff runs because he's had so many, but after a little bit of research and bringing back some old memories, I feel like I've made a pretty good list of LeBron's top 5 playoff runs. So coming in at number 5, we have 2012. So in 2012 in the first round, LeBron averaged about 27 points and he beat the Knicks in Game 5, so the final series was 4-1. And the Knicks had a good team, you know, they had Melo, they had Stoudemire, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Tyson Chandler, all those guys. And yeah, he beats them in Game 5. And then in the second round, he beats the Pacers in Game 6, so the final series was 4-2. And they had Paul George, David West, Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert, and George Hill when he was actually decent. And yeah, so LeBron averaged 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. And that Pacers team was really good. They were probably like the Heat's, like one of the biggest threats to the Heat's championship runs in that 4 years that LeBron was there. And then in the third round, so a lot of people know what happened in the conference finals, Heat versus Celtics. So the Celtics were a bit of a super team. They had Rondo, Pierce, Allen, and Kevin Garnett. Celtics are winning the series, and LeBron has his best game ever in Game 6 where he has 45 points, 15 rebounds, and he shot 73%. That's what people consider LeBron's greatest game ever. And then in Game 7, the Heat beat the Celtics, and yeah, LeBron had 31 points and 12 rebounds. And if LeBron loses that, his legacy, you know, his legacy was on the line that whole series because he just lost to the Mavericks, which was his worst series ever. And yeah, so he delivered and had his best game ever in Game 6 in 2012. And then in the finals, he beats Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka, and the OKC. And people will try to tell you that it was just a baby Thunder team and they're all young and little children, but that's not true. So last week I rewatched Game 1 and 2, the full game on YouTube, and the whole time the commentators were saying it was LeBron versus KD, the top 2 players in the world. So Kevin Durant at the time in 2012 was already considered a top 2 player alongside LeBron. So don't let people try to tell you they were just a baby team. Kevin Durant was already in that top 2 debate. And yeah, so the LeBron wins his first championship in 2012. But yeah, 2012 is at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have 2020. So last year, man, this is inspirational playoff run by LeBron. Year 17, still the greatest player in the world. And in the first round, the talk that was going on Twitter especially was that the Blazers were the greatest 8th seed team ever. I will never forget that. People were saying that the Blazers could beat the Lakers. Charles Barkley was the leader of all that talk. And then after Game 1, everyone was saying Blazers in 5, Blazers in 6. And then LeBron wins 4 straight games. He averaged 27-point triple-double. And yeah, so the greatest 8th seed team ever loses in Game 5 to the Lakers. And then in the second round, Houston, they win Game 1. And then everyone was saying that the Lakers' backcourt isn't good enough to stop Harden and Westbrook, which some people thought were the best backcourt in the NBA with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry not being in the playoffs that year. And people were saying Rockets in 6. And then LeBron quiets them down and averages 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. But the reason that this playoff run is at number 4 is because AD, he helped out a lot in this playoff run, and AD averaged like 25 and 12 against the Rockets. And then in the conference finals, we versed the Nuggets, who just came back from 3-1 against the Clippers. And LeBron averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and he dominated Game 5, especially in the fourth quarter to close out that series. And then in the finals, the Heat actually slowed down AD, especially in the first couple games. But LeBron went on to average 30 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, pretty much a triple-double. And that was to win his 4th championship. And Jimmy Butler was playing out of his mind. But yeah, the Heat actually did pretty well to slow down AD. But yeah, so at number 4, we have 2020. Coming in at number 3, we have 2007. So a lot of people actually forgot about this playoff run. So in the first round, LeBron sweeps the Wizards. They had a pretty solid team led by Antoine Jameson. But yeah, this is where it gets good. In the second round, he beats the Nets 4-2. And the Nets, they had prime Vince Carter, prime Jason Kidd, prime Richard Jefferson. This is like this is LeBron's like 4th year in the league. He's probably like 22, 23 or something. And LeBron led the Cavs in every single stat, and the Cavs roster was pathetic. Probably in the video I edited in like a photo of the Cavs roster. It was terrible. And then in the 3rd round, he beats the 1st seed stacked Pistons by himself again with his terrible roster. LeBron leads in all the stats once again. They had prime Richard Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, Tayshaun Prince was a good defender. And yeah, they had a stacked team. The Pistons were really good. And in Game 5, LeBron put on arguably another one of his best games ever. Probably, I don't know if it's better than his 2012 game. But yeah, they came back to win. LeBron James scored 29 of the last 30 Cavs points. He had 25 straight at one point. And this is one of the best games, not only one of LeBron's best games, this is one of the best games in NBA history. He finished with 48 points. So yeah, that was in Game 5 versus the Pistons. And they ended up beating the Pistons in Game 6, I believe. So yeah, that was one of LeBron's best ever playoff series against the Pistons. Absolutely dominated and took the trash Cavs team to the finals. And then in the finals, LeBron played well, but you know, he came up against Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker, and you know, that Spurs team, one of the best teams of all time. And there's only so much carrying one player can do. And they ended up getting swept. But even so, they got swept. I still think this is definitely a top 3 playoff run ever, especially because what he had to go through, especially in the 2nd round and the conference finals. But yeah, 2007 is at my number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2, we have 2018. In my opinion, 2018 playoff LeBron is the best basketball player of all time. I remember watching all these games and I was literally in shock of what I was seeing. LeBron James was just fucking dominating. I've never seen anything like it. He was just in a zone. But in the 1st round, LeBron averaged 34, 10 and 8. He had the buzzer beater in Game 5, so the series was 2-2. He had a buzzer beater in Game 5. Then they lose 6, and then he wins Game 7 led by... so the Cavs win Game 7 led by LeBron's 45 points. So that was an incredible 1st round. And then in the 2nd round, he versus the Toronto Raptors, LeBronto. LeBron averages 34 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. The Cavs were up 2-0, and LeBron hits a buzzer beater in Game 3. So that's pretty much a series winning buzzer beater because no one's ever come back from 3-0. So now the Cavs have a 3-0 lead. And the type of shots that LeBron was hitting in this series was insane. His contested fadeaways, like everyone, like the commentators were shocked, the bench was shocked, the crowd, the Toronto crowd was shocked. You guys really need to go back and watch LeBron's highlights against the Raptors in 2018. Is the best basketball you'll ever witness in your life. But yeah, so the Cavs sweep the Raptors, and then in the conference finals against the Celtics, LeBron averages 33 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Again, he was making all these crazy shots all series long, and he had 46 points in Game 6, and then in Game 7, he had 35 points in Game 7, and he led a trash Cavs team to the finals. But then in the finals, he come against the best team ever. So the 73-9 Warriors had Kevin Durant, and yeah, the Cavs got swept. But in Game 1, LeBron had 51 points, one of his best, probably would have been his best game ever if they won. And yeah, you know what happened after that? JR ran the ball out the wrong way, George Hill missed a free throw. And apparently LeBron broke his hand in the locker room after that because he punched a whiteboard. But he still went on to average 34 points, 8 rebounds and 10 assists in the series. But yeah, that team was shocking. George Hill was second best player on the team. Kevin Love was injury prone the whole year. And yeah, so 2018 was LeBron's second best playoff run ever. So coming in at number 1, we have 2016. So in 2016, I'm not going to lie, the road to the finals wasn't anywhere near LeBron's toughest road to the finals. So the first round they had the Pistons. They just swept the Pistons like they were meant to. And Kyrie was playing really good the whole playoff run too. The second round they had the Hawks. So the Hawks are actually a good team. They never really had a chance of beating LeBron, but the Hawks in 2015 had 4 All-Stars, and then in 2016 they had 2 or 3. But they had a lot of All-Stars on their team. They had a good system. But yeah, the Cavs sweep the Hawks, and then in the third round, they beat the Raptors 4-2. So the Raptors were a 56 win team that year. Cavs had like 57 wins. And so, but overall, the first 3 rounds were pretty easy for LeBron and the Cavs. But then in the finals, down 3-1 against the 73-9 Warriors, led by two-time unanimous MVP, or one-time unanimous, just two-time MVP, Steph Curry. Game 5 and Game 6, so the Cavs are down 3-1. LeBron has 41 points in Game 5 and Game 6. And then in Game 7, versus the best team of all time, record-wise, LeBron has a 27-point triple-double. I can't remember exactly how many points he had, but he had a triple-double in Game 7, which has only ever been done 3 times in history. He leads the Cavs for the series in every single stat. He led the Cavs in every single stat. Every single stat you can think of, LeBron led the Cavs in that playoff run. And yeah, that was the greatest finals win of all time. So, I'm not going to lie, the road to the finals wasn't his toughest, nowhere near it. But the finals itself made up for it. And he had the greatest championship of all time. I don't even think I think it's a fact. It's not even an opinion, it's just a fact. You know, coming back from 3-1, no one's ever done that before. First championship in Cleveland in 52 years. First championship for the whole franchise, the Cavaliers. And yeah, so that was the greatest finals of all time. And yeah, that's LeBron's top 5 playoff runs ever. So there's a couple honorable mentions. So 2017, LeBron dominated. But the one that a lot of people probably expect to see was 2013. I was going to put that at number 5, but in 2012, even so LeBron dominated 2013 finals, once again his road to the finals in 2012 was a bit tougher than 2013, so I did choose 2012 over that. But yeah, this is LeBron's top 5 playoff runs. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'm out.